sue Steve for getting your money back for false advertising. So we're going to do our best with the German. As he said, Sascha couldn't make it tonight. So what you're about to hear is a kind of condensed version of the collaboration we created, thankfully helped out by McCabe, who has stepped in heroically at the last moment. He's a German learner, self-described, and I think it kind of fits with the theme that Sascha and I decided on, which was sleep and sleeplessness. It kind of the disconnect between our German and how it really should sound, perhaps, will reflect the theme of sleep. So this first poem is called Mandarin Apollo, Maori Astronaut, and it's about two legendary figures from China and Polynesia, respectively, whose stories were intertwined with the moon. So for those of you who don't know, one who was a legendary Chinese leader from the Ming Dynasty, who it was claimed traveled to the moon in a wicker chair with fireworks attached to it. And the Maori legend of Rona is that Rona was walking and the moon grabbed her and the tree that she clung onto for protection and took them to the moon with him. Okay, so this is Mandarin Apollo, Maori Astronaut.
Wenn hu nicht schlafen kann, sieht zu, wie der Mond sich wandelt, wie zu, dann abnimmt und noch einmal zu, sieht wie ein Jojo in Slow Motion, durch den Himmel hangelt.
When Rona cannot sleep, she curses the moon. What further harm now from Marama, her captor, who glows through her eyelids, who pulls the tides within her like uprooted trees?
Wenn hu nicht schlafen kann, malt sich aus, es säße auf einem Stuhl, daran befestigt 47 Bambusrohre, die mit Schwarzpulver füllen und entzünden lässt.
When Rona cannot sleep, she recalls the night of her theft. One stumble, one wrong word, and the moon, the world's husband, rips what he thinks is due. You and your gourds of water, and the tree you clung to.
Zurückbleiben 47 Kerzen, 47 Diener, die staunen, als Hu in Luft sich auflöst. Sie werden ihn suchen halbherzig und immerzu, in den südlicheren Sternbildern, bis der Schlaf die Flämmchen löscht.
There will be no chance for protest. Your absence is not noted. Your story a warning to stay in line, be silenced. Is it not enough to be admired by upturned eyes? Is it not enough to be kept in light?
Die sowjetische Raumsonde Sonde 3 willst du finden, in einem Krater sitzend, hinter dem rechten Auge des Mondes, traumend und versät, und nur der Holzstuhl morsch und brüchig.
When NASA's Artemis 1 lands on the moon, when the first brown female astronaut uncorks the airlock, she will find Rona laughing. He aha koe iroa ai. What took you so long? They'll drink sap from a moon gourd at Marama's wake. So the second poem is actually one of Sascha's own, and we're reading it in tribute to him tonight in his absence. Many thanks to Sascha and to my friend Milos for coaching me a little in German pronunciation. I'm hoping for a kind of Swiss-Bavarian accent combination. So this poem, we thought a lot about how to present this poem to you, and it's a poem about the situation in Ukraine. It's a poem about speaking one's own language, speaking the same language, and the difficulties of communication. So we thought perhaps these two British people attempting to speak German might reflect the ways that the content is about not being able to grasp the gravity of the situation in Ukraine.
Kinderzeichnungen.
Die Kinder sitzen auf den Treppen in der Metro und malen Raketen, die durch den Himmel über Tschaki fliegen bis zum Mond.
Malen Spatzen, die in ihrem Schoss herabfallende Sprengkörper aus der Luft picken, wie Vogelbeeren aus einem Strauch.
Bauen, während sie beschossen werden, die Straßen und die Häuser der Stadt wieder auf mit Buntstiften auf Papier.
Und in der Erinnerung ihrer Eltern, die nach Wörtern suchen, sie wie Schlaf über ihre Kinder zu legen.
Und wenn die Kinder schlafen, erzählen die Erwachsenen einander in derselben Sprache, im Flüsterton, im Flackerlicht der Kerzen.
And when the children are asleep, the adults tell each other in the same language, in whispers, in the light of flickering candles.
Von einem, den sie nicht beerdigen können, da in einer Granate zerriss und man nicht alles von ihm findet.
About one they cannot bury, because a mine tore him to pieces and they can't find all of him.
Aber später will jemand seinen Namen rufen im Dunkel, ihn zu Grabe tragen im Traum und in derselben Sprache.
But later someone will call his name in the dark, bury him in his dream and in the same language.
Thanks very much for that. So the next few poems I'm going to read are my own, forgive me. And the next two that I'm going to read are featured this week, if you want to find them later, in the 87 Press's Open Access magazine, The Hive. But they're also part of my PhD project, which considers how we can use metaphor to identify with the natural world, especially trees, and perhaps learn from it by giving it greater notice. So this first one, you need to know that when a tree is growing near a street light, the leaves nearest the light are the last ones to fall in autumn because they think the light is the sun. This is called Deceptions. Notice, street lamplight makes false summer, a photosynthetic lightening on leaves deceived to linger, whispering close clustered rustle, wherein there's a likening that throws my greenness in relief against the beam of your bright eye. How I wither out with your fair weather warmth, how unlit outside your noticing, I can't hang on. But it just seems the more deceived in this conceit is I can't stop seeing things. A little bit of delightful awkwardness here. My way, mistaking eye for eye, minding greenness leaves are blind to for mine, taking leaving as participle, a verbal slip, a lie. But how to retrieve you then, otherwise? This next poem is about a black poplar on Peckham Rye Common. You may know that the poet William Blake, no doubt high on fumes from his copper engraving, saw Ezekiel in a tree on Peckham Rye. And I was walking there and thought about how the place has changed a lot, but how Blake's influence still shapes the way that people think of it. So this is called Blake Winter. Looks vascular, that leafless branchful wintering, but see your vision inflects blanks with notice, Peckham Rye is Blake marked. It's enough to drive you to God. Wings photo negative, bone white on blackened twigs. You made angels of exposure. You made Ezekiel of nitric lungs. But scratch that copper etch. These branches pick away circuitous, mycelia undermining what's engraved. This is not your turf. And the last poem I'm going to read is about the ways in which biology and nature are sometimes evoked to justify bigotry, and what we can learn from nature about compassion and categories. This is called Turf. This isn't some kind of a metaphor. Goddamn, this is real. Shellac, squirrel song. Check my status, where I stand, what grounds I have to love you, I don't know. My turf, I feel for grass, such shameful homonym. Somebody told me London's plains are male to stop fruit-splattered pavements or erosion of bonnets by bird shit or something. Typical, I thought. Roots of rooted irritants, men taking up space and damn my eyes streaming with springtime. Referred to them as he, like some children's author. Forgive me, I was misled. Turns out, plains are monoecious. Male and female flowers grow often on one tree, like intersex, like they-them pronouns, like my brother, welcome, like my sister, share my spaces, like my sibling, I love you. Trees, help me understand complexity. Give me something to look up to. Like, what if our first thought was the struggle we share? Like, the plains rebuked by living, use reserves only for growing, only ever punching up, not down. Repairing, building, flowering, remaking. Compassion's open bloom shows red insides, like tulip heads, bent almost inside out with showing, slightly crushed, and no less lovely for a little trampling. Maybe more. Thank you very much.